welcome back to the One Room at a Time podcast. I'm your host, Atticus LeBlanc, CEO of PadSplit, and we are back for part 2 of our conversation with Leon Orange, an Army veteran turned content creator and PadSplit host. Leon, thanks again for being here. Let's jump right back in.
Let's do it.
So when we dropped off for the first half of this episode, we were going through your purchase of using a VA loan of a home, renting out 4 rooms, living for free, making an average of $600 a month, and building your way to financial freedom, and doing so for less than $10,000 up front.
Yes.
And it obviously worked out well enough, despite all the trade-offs and sacrifices that you had to make living with those 4 other people in your home, that you decided to do it again. So talk us through a little bit of that decision process. Were you better the second time around? And like, how did you even do that? Maybe with your VA loan, like, what are the regulations around leaving one house and going to the next one? What was the timeline, and when did you decide you were going to do this?
Absolutely. So with the VA loan, which is a very powerful benefit that veterans have, it states on their website, it states on va.gov when you're looking at information in terms of your VA loan that you get an entitlement up to a certain amount. Mine at the time was $700,000. What does that mean? That means I can use my entitlement to buy a house that's $350,000, and I can also use the other half of that entitlement to get another house for $350,000. So I was capped at $700,000. By the time I got my second house, they raised it to $1 million, but I was able to get 2 houses under the same entitlement, and I was able to use it twice. Same guidelines. The houses had to be a certain distance from each other. So.
Okay.
I went, searched, looked. I knew that I wanted to get a house that was pretty low in price, but had the potential to have a lot of rooms. And I was able to do that the second time because I hunted houses that were 3 bedrooms that could potentially be 7, 5 bedrooms that could potentially be 7, 4 bedrooms that could potentially be 5. And I was able to find one that just so happened to be sectioned out. The rooms were sectioned out already. Okay. To do it. And I was like, that's the one I want. It was a little more pricey, but I was like, I knew that the trouble that I would have to find I would have to go through to just get a wall built would be so grand that, hey, I'll pay the extra price for this house.
Sure. Time is money, right?
Time is money.
Well, and if you're paying 0% down, I guess, and it's already done, then you save yourself a ton of headache.
Exactly.
So how many rooms did the second property have?
The second property had 5 rooms and 3 bathrooms.
Okay.
While the first property had 5 rooms and 2 bathrooms, and one of the bathrooms was in the main suite in which I occupied.
Got it. And when did you decide, okay, this is working out well enough in house 1, you're living there with roommates, and at what point were you confident, okay, like, I can manage these rooms as rentals on my own, but I'm comfortable enough in this working that I'm going to do it again? Like, how long had you been hosting at that point before you started shopping around for the next deal?
It's funny because even before I moved into the first house, I let it be known in my own head, the conversations that I have, that, if this works, I can replace my job. I was making $60,000 a year, and I kind of said, hey, if I get at least 5 houses, I can at minimum make $1,000, per house. Granted, I was in the house and I was making $600. So by the time I rent out the space that I was in, at about $1,000, then I'd be making well over $1,000. So you multiply that by, 3 to 5 houses, I can replace my job. Sure. with just the investments. So that's the mentality I had going in was, okay, this 1 year is complete. Let's go into year 2. Let's stay here for a year. Let's get it up and running and be able to start really just start that journey in regards to getting to my ultimate goal.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, this is a story I hear from a lot of hosts, and it was my story too. When I started buying houses, my goal was, how do I replace my income? and
Yeah.
and it is such an alluring idea, uh, that I think this rent by the room strategy can really help with, just because if you can get, like you say, $1,000 per month net per house, it doesn't take that many to be able to make it work. But it sounds like, so you knew before you even moved into the first one, you were going for it, and that you were going to make this thing
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. See, the thing, I was never really sold on the idea of like the traditional American dream. Hey, you buy a house, you have a job, you work, and you just, do those things. It was like, hey, you know what? If I get a house, I want to make it work for me. How do I turn this house into an asset? How can I turn this car? How can I turn this camera into an investment to ultimately get me to where I want to go? So that was my mentality with the second house, and it was an easier process. When it came to the house and the inspections, I was a little bit more hands-on. And when it came to uh, the room and the setup, and the realistic income that I could generate of the area, thanks to PadSplit tool, it gave me an idea that, hey, what I charge in my first house that was near downtown isn't necessarily what I could charge
Mm.
in a place that's a little further from downtown. So
But
those are all factors.
you moved from the first house to the second house, though, correct?
Yes.
And if you could, did you have to move to the second house for your VA benefit, or could you have bought that second one as a rental property?
Yes, I had to maintain it as my
Okay,
primary residence.
got it.
Yeah, well, Keynote is primary residence. So, hey, second house moving in, it's my primary residence. Gonna be that like that for a year, and that's that.
Got it. So you have to live. So you had to live in the first house for a full year,
Mhm.
before you moved into the second one,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
you stay in the second one for a year. And I remember in the last episode you mentioned the first house you bought 2 years ago. We're
Yeah.
coming coming up on the end of the second year. So
Yeah.
is there a third one potentially in your future now as well?
The funny thing about that is the fatigue staying in kind of a one bedroom house definitely set in after a
Sure.
while. Just kind of you know, uh just being regulated to one room, it kind of really just set in on me. And I think I told myself, I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't have to do everything all at once. Maybe I can kind of do something that's a little bit more for myself in regards to opening up my home photography studio, which this opportunity kind of fell in my lap a little bit. Maybe if it didn't, or maybe it was a little harder, then I probably would have just went ahead with the third house. But there's a bit of a challenge now, being that being a VA, being a veteran. I only had a $700,000 entitlement. I've exhausted that entitlement. Now I have to go into more of a traditional route
Mm.
in regards to saving 3.5% down. Now that probably would have been pretty easy if I had stayed in the house, and I made that income to be able to save up for the next house. But, I wanted to kind of just venture out to just kind of do something that was just for me. So the income I make from those houses pay for my studios. It's considered living work. So I have a studio apartment on one side, and on the other side, I have an open space that I use for my photography studio. So the income I generate from my houses is what pays for here.
Got it. So you move into the second one. You lived there for how long? Like 6 months, a year,
Here.
a full year. Okay.
Yeah.
So you live in the first house for a year. You buy the second one. You move into that one for the year, and you're throwing off what, $2,000 a month from each of those properties, or ballpark what?
About $1,200 for each
Okay.
house. Is about $1,200. So $2,400 profit, and that basically covers the $2,000 that is here in this particular
Okay.
space.
And so now you have your live workspace where you can be an entrepreneur yourself. Are you still working full time, or are you fully independent now?
So fortunately, I was able to quit my full time job and actually just do what I love to do, which is photography, run a photography business, and I've taken on clients to also do social media management as well. So I can kind of come and go as I please and have clients and, and sometimes they stay on for 6 months, sometimes they stay on for a 1 month and just be able to be a little bit more free, was my ultimate goal. Would I like to get another house? Absolutely. But I know that I probably would have to do a little bit more kind of,
You
focus a little bit more on that
Yeah. Well, I
than
guess you need more capital. I guess you could do it again with now that they up your do they up your entitlement? Is that just like across the board for every veteran, or is it only once you've exhausted your $700,000? You said they went to 1 million. So
yeah, they went to 1 million. If I just so happened to both my houses were like
okay,
$500,000, then they would have didn't. There's something weird to whereas I couldn't get a third house for $300,000 because there has to be a certain percentage of something.
got it.
Well, I couldn't get a third house because trust me, I asked. They're like, I'll just get a 3 bedroom this
Yeah,
time.
but it's not like as a veteran you can just do it every time.
Yeah,
You're capped at the million total. You couldn't just
yeah.
okay, got it.
I can do it.
Got it.
But what I can do, which is something I'm potentially looking forward to doing in the future, is my VA loan. I can refinance into an FHA loan, and
Mm.
then I can use my VA loan entitlement again to be able to be zero down.
Okay. So you wait a little bit longer. You let your existing two houses appreciate,
Hmm.
then you refinance them, where hopefully the amount of equity that is appreciated in the home can allow you to cash out, or not necessarily cash out, but at least refinance those homes without any of your own cash out of pocket. And who knows, maybe you get some equity dollars back and put in your pocket, but at least you can then recycle your VA benefit and go do it again. Maybe this time with a photography studio attached.
Maybe build my own for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, have you thought about maybe building an accessory dwelling unit or something in the back of one of these houses for your own photography studio or anything like that?
Yeah. With my second house, one of the things that I wanted to look into was getting a house with a big backyard.
Mm,
So that way I can build an ADU back there. Here in Orlando, we have container homes. So kind of getting price quotes on container homes, trying to figure out the funding because I may not necessarily have to get another house to be able to get, let's say, another $1,000. I can simply put a container home on the property. Definitely go through the city, get the right permits, and be able to, um, you know, put a container home or a couple
sure.
on the same property.
So Leon, I want to pull up for a second here. So like this first house, you have less than $10,000 to get into that one. You
Mhm.
do it again. Then you
Mhm.
create your own. You leave your job and you create this entirely new business. And you did all of this with at the beginning you were making $60,000 a year, give or take,
Yes, also, yeah.
and you had $10,000 in savings to build up to get this whole thing started.
Technically, not really $10,000. I made sure they keep my job now. When you're putting the escrow down, you kind of do that in the beginning. It may take months after, for the inspection process and finally to
Mm,
close on it. So, all that time I'm collecting, paychecks. I didn't have $10,000 in the bank at the time, but I was able to use a paycheck for the escrow initially. Use a little bit of my next paycheck for the permits, and then when it came to me actually securing a house, I was able to use the paycheck after that to then furnish the house. And then maybe use a little bit more of the paycheck 2 weeks later to just get the house built, get the room built specifically, negotiate with contractors. This person saying 6,000, this person saying 2,000. Let me check out the work. So I didn't have to like save 10,000 to get started,
got it.
but little bit by little, it kind of added up to
It's
10,000.
incredible.
Less than
And
that.
so you're living rent free.
Yeah.
You've funded enough to quit your job, live for free, earn income, build equity, and you do this with a nominal amount of savings and earn 60 grand a year. So for somebody else that's out there listening to this but might have limited savings or thinks again like the American dream is dead, what's the most practical first step that you would encourage them to take to get going in the next, call it 60 to 90 days?
I think really just being realistic with yourself. What can be done? What can you do? Weigh the pros and the cons. You know, sometimes people's biggest cons is very ego driven. Hey, I don't want to live with anybody.
Mm.
But look at the pros to that. You know, if you sacrifice for 1 year, you have that asset. You have that property the next 30 years. You know, you can be one step closer. Now that first house didn't allow me to be able to quit my job. But the second house did. So I took one step back to take a major step forward. I took 2 steps back to make a major step forward. So weigh your pros and cons, get started. You know, a lot of times people aren't in a situation to be single, no kids, no wife. So guess what? Get in there so that way you can prepare for when you do have these things. You know, get in there, just get started.
Yeah.
Basically, just be practical with what you have. Get started, because 5-10 years from now it's gonna happen anyway. So you might as well
Love it.
get started now.
Love it. And you've created 10 units of workforce housing as well. Is that right? Is it 10
Yes.
individual bedroom?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So for the housing developers out there, I want you to think about that for a second as well. It really is. It's an incredible story, Leon. And I know we're running out of time here, so I want to move into some rapid fire, because I really appreciate all the time that you've spent with us and just sharing your knowledge and your journey. So without further ado, rapid fire. Do you have any habits that you think have really changed the course of your life that that you just are religious about every day?
Habits. I love to work out every morning. I love to take a walk. I have to take a walk every morning. That's something that I do before I even get anything done. So taking a nice walk.
Nice. What are you currently reading, or podcasts you're listening to? Just who's a creator you follow? Like, what's that outlet that you're tracking these days?
Absolutely. I'm taking a course by Heath Work, and what he does is he shows you how to use AI for your business. So how to create AI ads for your business.
Love it.
It's something I've been really into.
Yeah, especially now that you're on your own, and don't worry, you don't need to worry about your job being replaced by AI. So
Yeah.
you can leverage it to its fullest extent, right?
Then on top of it, yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice to yourself at age 18, what would it be?
If I could give myself a piece of advice to 18-year-old me is continue going with your gut feeling. Do not settle. You only get one life to live, and it is absolutely okay to live it the way that you want to live it. And it's okay not to listen to everyone else.
I love it.
And not everyone that's older than you is wiser than you.
I'm gonna write that one down. Finish the sentence. The best house hack is one that blank.
The best house hack is the one that works for you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, you have certainly done some amazing things just in a very short couple of years here, Leon, to make this whole system work for you. You are living proof that that the American dream is not dead, and that it is achievable for veterans and for others like yourself who are willing to just take life by the reins and make it work and make it happen. So amazing. Thank you, Leon, so much for your service and for joining us on this 2-part episode of One Room at a Time. Your story really highlights in just such a practical way how people can use housing to build wealth, opportunity. We always talk about leverage housing as a vehicle for financial empowerment. And for our listeners, please check out Leon's work at orangesmedia.com. We will include a link below in the show notes. Also, be sure to subscribe to the One Room at a Time podcast at padsplit.com/podcast or wherever you happen to be listening. Leave us a review and tell us who we should talk to next. Leon, thank you again, and thanks everyone for joining in.
Thanks for having me.